Yes, good afternoon and welcome to a very wet Auckland for the draw for the 2016 Oceania Champions League. Plenty of nervous people in the room, coaches and players. Next year, April the 8th through to April the 23rd, both Auckland and Wellington here in New Zealand will host the Oceania Championship. And I tell you what, with the success of Auckland last year, this is a competition that is growing in strength, growing in stature from year to year. So what does football mean in the region of Oceania? It's all about excitement. It's all about the beautiful game. Yes, plenty of excitement, plenty of fun. They were the words you saw when it describes, I guess, football here in Oceania. Well, I've got Michael Song standing next to me. Michael is the competition manager for Oceania Football. And Michael, it's an exciting afternoon, isn't it? Because we do have a draw first and foremost for the preliminary tournament. 4 teams, that's to be staged in January. Yes. The winner, I guess, of those 4 teams will then join the main draw, the main competition here, which will be 12 teams staged in April. Just explain basically how this is going to work.
So the 2016 OFC Champions League will consist of two stages. The first stage will be the OFC OFC Champions League preliminary taking place in Cook Islands with the club champions from American Samoa, Cook Islands, Samoa and Tonga participating, with the winner joining 11 other teams in the final competition of the 2016 OFC Champions League, taking place across Auckland and Wellington from the 8th to the 23rd of April.
And the region well and truly represented, two teams out of New Zealand and Auckland and Wellington, and also 2 teams out of Fiji.
Yes, and there will also be 2 teams from Papua New Guinea and 2 teams from New Caledonia.
Okay, well, let's hear from Chris Kemp. He is the competition director, just talking about football in the Oceania region, just how much it has grown and the importance of this particular part of the world when it comes to FIFA and international football.
The OFC Champions League is Oceania Football Confederation's premier international club competition and brings together the top 12 clubs from throughout our region. We are really excited to bring the competition to New Zealand and into Auckland and Wellington, given that those 2 teams were finalists last year. The club teams across the Pacific have really improved over the last few years through the Champions League. So the fans can expect a high quality level of competition, competitive matches, lots of goals and lots of action. The competition means a lot to all of the competitors. We only have to look back to Auckland City's performance last year in winning the competition and then proceeding through to the FIFA Club World Cup, where they achieved global headlines. And so it's a prestigious competition and there's a lot riding on it for the teams competing.
Yes, indeed, the FIFA World Club competition, I guess the ultimate prize, the winner of the Oceania Champions League goes through Auckland. Remarkable last year. Being staged in just a couple of weeks' time in Japan, so plenty to play for in 2016. Okay, let's talk about the 4 teams that we do have here today, Michael. So what countries are represented, which teams are yet to still qualify, and I guess are looking for that final place amongst the 12?
So let's just start with the clubs from the 2016 OFC Champions League preliminary. So the Utule Youth FC from American Samoa, Tupapa Maraerenga FC from Cook Islands, Kiwi FC from Samoa, and Vaitongo FC from Tonga will be competing for the place in the final competition. And we have in the main draw, obviously we have the returning champions Auckland City from New Zealand, Team Wellington last year's runner-up also from New Zealand, Nandi FA, the club champion from Fiji. We also have the club champions of New Caledonia, AS Magenta.
And so I guess the club champions from right around the Oceania region, and it's always very hard to gauge, isn't it? No real sort of historical data on a lot of these teams, big improvement from one season to the next, which makes this competition so incredibly intriguing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I guess we do get into the preliminary draw for the Champions League for 2016. As alluded to, this to be staged in the Cook Islands come January 26th. Just one of the four will go through to the open group of 12 to either play in Auckland or Wellington. Okay, so we will now get Michael, if you can come forward. And
yes, so I would just like to start with the draw procedure. So in front of us, Mark, we have 2 pots. Part 1 contains the club participating clubs, and part 2 will have the positions that each team will occupy in the round robin tournament. So I will draw a ball from part 1 first, followed by part 2, and this will be repeated 3 more times.
Okay, well, Michael, over to you. So, Kiwi FC. So, Kiwi FC. And what number will they be in regards to the draw? And they are position 2. So, all the fans there of Kiwi FC, the official proceedings very much have established you in this preliminary round. Utalehi Youth FC. So Utalehi FC. And Utalehi FC have established themselves as position 1. So just 2 teams remain.
Tupapa Marenga FC.
Tupapa Marenga FC. And Tupapa Marenga FC are position 4. Again, the Cook Islands preliminary tournament set to go January 26th through to the 30th.
Last one. Veitongo FC.
Veitongo FC. And Veitongo FC are position 3. So that is the established draw for the preliminary tournament for the Oceania Champions League. The winner of that to go through to the group of 12 here in New Zealand, either Auckland or Wellington, from April 9th through to the 23rd. Well, it is certainly an exciting time. Oceania football continues to grow from strength to strength. The format is very much a round-robin type tournament for that preliminary tournament, with the winner ultimately going through. Well, let's go now and sort of get a bit of a sense about how important the Champions League is in terms of the coaches and the players, particularly from those clubs like Auckland and Wellington who have established themselves year in, year out.
Hi, I'm Sam Burford and I can't wait for the OFC Champions League.
It's always a great opportunity, you know, for us players in here in New Zealand to show what we can do in the biggest stage.
Going to be really interesting to see how the teams are drawn for the groups.
Obviously it was our debut season last year, losing out on penalties, so it's hard to take, which gives us extra motivation this year obviously to try and go one better, so looking forward to it.
It's going to be amazing. Obviously I wanted to come to Auckland to be able to play in it.
We're just delighted to have it, partly held in our home city, and we're looking forward to it being in New Zealand.
It's one of our main targets, to make sure we compete well again.
I was so excited to play for Auckland.
To be honest, I kind of like the one that used to be where you go home and away.
We always wanted to play this tournament. That is what it gives us that gift in life, to go to the Club World Cup.
We're Auckland City and we can't wait for the OFC Champions League.
Well, you can certainly tell the Auckland FC boys, they've learnt to be good in front of a camera. That's what happens, though, when you go to the World Club Championships. The TV cameras are there and the guys certainly play up to it. But they do talk the talk and they ultimately walk the walk. Well, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching this live feed around Oceania, it is now time for the main draw for the Champions League 2016. The Oceania Champions League to be staged here in New Zealand, either Auckland or Wellington. Looking forward to this. Football is very much booming here in New Zealand. So we're going to turn you back over to Michael and we'll get the official proceedings underway.
Thank you, Mark. So I'll just also like to state the technical rules. I have to, sorry. In front of us, we have 4 pots, pot 1, 2, 3, and 4, containing teams. And they are based on the ranking of the 2015 OFC Champions League. We have pot 5 that will contain the groups that each team can be drawn into. As a rule, the club from the same country cannot be drawn in the same group. And there will be exceptions applying at this draw. With the pot 3, Suba FC will be drawn up first. And in pot 4, preliminary winner will be drawn up first, to avoid such occurrence and for us to have a redraw.
Okay, well, there you go. So, nervous people out there, who's going to draw Auckland, who's going to draw Wellington? Two of the number 1 and number 2 seeds.
Yes, so part 1, they'll have the top 3 teams seeded. So again with Auckland City.
Auckland City.
As a seeded team, they should be Group A, position 1.
So Group A, position 1, Auckland FC, the defending champions.
Last year's runner-up, Team Wellington.
So Team Wellington, last year's runner-up.
So I should say this year, they should be Group B, position 1.
So Group B, position 1, Team Wellington.
The last four out of part 1, Nandi FA, the Fiji champions.
So Nandi FA, Fiji champions.
Group C, position 1.
Group C, position 1. Okay, so we have determined our seeds, top seeds for each of the 3 pools for 2016. Auckland, Wellington and Nandi.
Amika FC from Vanuatu.
Amakali FC from Vanuatu.
Group A.
So Group A. So Roman Tribulic, a little bit of a smile here in the crowd. I'm not sure if that's nerves or... So Auckland and Amakali in Group A so far.
Hikari United from Papua New Guinea.
Hikari United from Papua New Guinea. So what pool will they fall into?
Group B.
So they now, the Papua New Guinean champions, fall into Group B, where they will come up against Wellington FC.
AS Magenta from New Caledonia.
AS Magenta, the team champions from New Caledonia. And they will fall into Group C, where of course they will meet Nandi of Fiji. So New Caledonia champions up against the Fijian champions.
Okay, part 3, we'll start with Suva.
So Suva FC, just a reminder, they can't fall into Group C with Nandi. They will fall into Group B, so they will take on Wellington. I think a relieved Auckland-looking coach, not even to take on one of the top Fijian sides.
The winner of Solomon Islands.
So the winner of Solomon Islands, they're yet to determine who their club champions are, but the winner of that is the team that has been drawn out.
Group A.
And they will fall into Group A, which means up against the defending champions, Auckland.
AS Tefana from Tahiti.
AS Tefana from Tahiti, the Tahitian champions.
Group C.
And they will play in Group C. New Caledonia, Fiji and Tahiti all in the same group for 2016.
The preliminary winner first.
Okay, now the preliminary winner. We had that draw earlier. This is the tournament that is to be staged in the Cook Islands in late January. The winner of that tournament, they have just been pulled out. They've just been drawn. What group will they fall into?
Group C.
Group C.
AS Lossie.
AS Lossie. And they will play in Group B.
The last one.
And now the last of the teams in the main draw of 12.
Lay City Dwellers from Papua New Guinea.
Lay City Dwellers from Papua New Guinea.
Group A.
Group A. So the draw for 2016 has been made. We're going to get plenty of reaction very shortly. But Michael, just a final word from you before we remind everyone what football means in Oceania. Pretty even, pretty good results there, I think, right across the board. A nice representation across all three groups.
Yes, definitely. So although the Auckland City have been dominating in terms of winning and representing Oceania at the FIFA Club World Cup, the level of strength is pretty even across 12 teams, as you have alluded earlier, the strength of the Oceania Football is growing each and every season, and I think we'll definitely see exciting and very competitive football next year.
Yeah, of course, we're looking forward to it. Wonderful to see so many countries represented. Of course, we encourage people, wherever you are, and Oceania football fans from around the world, do get yourself down to Auckland or Wellington around about April 8th, April 9th for what should be one very exciting tournament. Not just this wonderful trophy up for grabs, but of course, whoever ultimately wins this goes on to the World Club Challenge, which can mean financial security for clubs going forward, an opportunity for players to take a stepping stone through to higher honours, possibly picking up contracts overseas in some of the bigger leagues. But again, let's just go back and remind ourselves what football in Oceania ultimately means, what it stands for. Well, Alex Fenoritas from Wellington FC is standing with me. Of course, the number 2 seeds in Group 2. What did you make of the draw? Are you happy with the clubs from around Oceania that you're going to end up meeting potentially in Wellington in April next year?
Look, it's a very exciting time for New Zealand to have the O-League base here, and look, we're never going to get an easy draw no matter who you draw today. But look, we're excited just to be competing again.
I mean, obviously, collectively, you're trying to win this, but I guess, as I said earlier, there are opportunities for you individually, I guess, to make a name for yourself, but obviously within that team environment.
Yeah, that's true. There's going to be plenty of people watching, especially with it being at home this year in Auckland and Wellington. There's going to be a lot of excitement and activity around the games, I hope, and there's going to be plenty to prove.
In terms of the way Wellington FC do play their football, I mean, growing up, we tend to sort of play a more traditional sort of English style, you know, crossing from the wings, the long ball through. That seems to have changed a lot more sort of possession-based game. Yeah,
well, the game's changed over time. There's a lot more possession-based that it's predominantly been introduced through Auckland City, how they've played, and a lot of other teams have tried to emulate what they've done, especially with the success that they've had at the Club World Cup, especially. And yeah, it has got a lot more possession-based lately.
Now, you travel around, you often play in other parts of Oceania with these particular Champions Leagues. What does Wellington offer? I mean, what are the home advantages for Wellingtonians? I mean, talk to me a little bit about the subtleties that make Wellington, which potentially teams from Papua New Guinea and the rest of Oceania might just struggle a little bit with.
Well, the wind's not so subtle, to be honest. It's tough for us as well. It's not easy playing in Wellington. Aside from the fact that we're going to be a little bit more used to it, but yeah, it can be it can be a beautiful day in Wellington, but you don't get that often. But look, if it's pouring with rain, I know we're going to have to get the studs out, and there's going to be a lot more that comes into it, a lot more things that will affect the game.
Well, Michael, all the very best in April, and again, travel well, travel safe, and prepare well. You're going to need to.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. So there you go. Wellington FC well represented here today. We're hoping to now, we're going to bring into our coverage around Oceania. I hope you are enjoying the coverage of the 2016 Oceania Champions League. Roman Tribulic is now going to join us, very successful coach last year. We'll get Roman to come in. Well, firstly, you've got the World Club Championship in just a couple of weeks in Japan. Can you emulate what you did last year? I mean, that was just incredible, great for football.
No, look, we're not going to compare with it last year. You know, that was a great tournament for us. You know, great experience, and we probably never thought, no one even dreamed of doing something like that. You know, before going to the tournament. So again, we're not going to compare that. We're going to take it as we've taken it in the past. It's just a game by game. Competition for us. The first game for us is a very difficult one. We're coming up against the Japanese champions, which will be a very good team. So for us, that's a big step. You know, so we need to keep our feet on the ground and understand that and make sure that we compete as well as we can.
Now, FIFA putting a lot of money into the Oceania region. We're seeing the depth and the strength getting stronger and stronger every year. Of course, there is a big incentive to make the World Championships, purely from a financial point of view. That means, I guess, you can't leave anything for granted. You can't take anything for granted now.
Never. You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, this is the sport, is a competition, you know, and regardless whether you're competing for money or you're competing for passion, I think football should be about passion, not about money, you know. I mean, the clubs benefit from the money that we achieve, but we are playing for the love of the game we've got. At the end of the day, we are, you know, Team Wellington and us, we've got players that only get paid expenses. So we play for the passion we've got for the game, you know, and I think that's the way it should be, and that's the way we need to keep thinking about the game.
Roman Tribulic, the coach of Auckland FC, with me. Roman, okay, let's talk about today's draw. Group A next year. What did you make of the draw? Are you happy with the teams that have been pulled out that Auckland will ultimately end up facing?
You have to, because it is the way it is, you know, and at the end of the day, we're playing Amikale once again. I think we've played against each other for quite a few times, you know, over the last few years. It's a very similar team, very similar group, from last year. We played the Solomon champions last year, Western United. We played Amikale. Last year we had Suba also in the team. This year we've got our team that honestly I don't know from Papua New Guinea. So again, it'll be a matter of making sure that we do the proper scouting on these teams and that we take it as seriously as possible. Every year the competition is getting tougher. That's a reality, and you know, for us, it's good to play at home because we know we can control the conditions where we're playing, and we know what it's going to be like, you know, weather-wise. But again, you know, it doesn't make a big difference. The games are going to be very difficult. You're playing nearly one of games in the 3 games you're playing, so again, yeah, make sure that we respect all of our opponents and we compete as well as we can.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you plan for teams within the Oceania region? Not a lot of television coverage, not necessarily a lot of data, a lot of information made about them in terms of the style they play. So what, is it just simply a case of controlling what you can control?
Well, you need to make sure you get some footage of every single team, you know. So the good thing is that you've only got to look after one team probably, you know. The second and third teams you can watch them play in front of you, which makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day, you know. You just got to take it on board and make sure again you collect as much footage as you can from the first opponent. I mean, we know Amikale quite well from the past, and probably the Solomon champions, you know, we know the style of football they can play, you know, and even from PNG, you know, the PNG champions will be similar. So the good thing is that we've played in the Champions League for a long time right now, and we sort of understand the kind of football that these nations play, you know. And again, it's just about making sure that we tick all the ticks, you know, in terms of preparation before the championship, because it's going to be very tough.
Now, just finally, a little tongue-in-cheek here, but Ivan Visilic said that last year before the World Club Finals, you didn't have one grey hair.
Is that right? Okay. No, that's a lie. I think I've been having grace for a long time, you know. So maybe it's a bit of extra excitement, you know. That's giving me some extra grace, you know. At the end of the day, it's life, you know. So I'm happy with my hair. Yeah.
Well, Ramon Tribulich, thank you. All the very best. So plenty of fun and lots of enthusiasm in the room here at the draw for the 2016 Oceania Champions League. We're going to have a chat now to Ivan Visolic, the captain of Auckland FC, an icon here in New Zealand football. And I'd imagine probably the face of this particular tournament. Again, did great things for the region last year at the World Club Championship. Ivan Visolic, we welcome him in. Well, Ivan, I don't know, you're in your late 30s these days, aren't you, big guy? Here you are, another draw. You're still playing at the highest level in this part of the world. Are you still as motivated as ever? Are you still as excited as ever?
Yeah, the passion's still there. Getting a bit on in age, maybe a few greys as well, but the passion's still there, and it's exciting to be here and to be at the draw and, you know, to be involved in another season with Auckland City.
Yeah, and what do you make of the draw? Again, it is what it is. You've just got to play the teams in front of you. Yeah,
it is. It's a tough draw, I think, for all teams. I mean, the tournament is a hard format, and you know, playing against champions of every nation is going to be difficult no matter what. You know, we've had experience in the Champions League before, but at the end of the day, we've got to draw on all that experience to try to come out on top again, and it's going to be very difficult.
How much has the squad changed from the team that you took to the World Club Championships last year to potentially the team that will line up for Auckland in April next year?
Surprisingly, it's changed a lot. I mean, generally we change a few players every year, you know, by some players signing overseas or changing clubs here and there, but it seems to be quite a few changes with the team, and we've got a lot of young players in, we've got a lot of exciting young New Zealand under-20 players in, some players from around the region, Oceania also, so you know, it's exciting, and the team is at the moment just gelling together and hopefully, you know, peaking at the right times.
And now you've played a lot in Oceania, whether it be for the All Whites or at a club level. What have you noticed about the standard around the region?
Yeah, I've noticed the quality gets better and better every year. I mean, I've been playing there a lot, and the standard is getting better. I think they prepare better. You know, the quality of play coming through is a lot better than it has been in the past, and that what makes the tournament very difficult for all the teams playing, and it's going to be a great opportunity for the New Zealand public to come out in Wellington and Auckland and to see some great players from around the region playing.
How does it feel knowing that there are teams around Oceania that have got video footage of Ivan Visolic saying, right, we need to mark this guy, put 4 guys on him, just do not give him an inch?
They might need 5, eh? Yeah, look, that's part of the TV now. You know, it's great that we've got the ASB Premiership on TV in New Zealand. It does mean that people can watch us more often, but look, this is, you know, we're in an era now of analysation of games and watching players and how what they're good at and what they're not good at. So, you know, we use it, hopefully try to use it to our strengths as well.
How important is the experience factor that you've mentioned? I mean, the peripheral things, having to deal with the travel factor, having to get out of suitcases, having television, I guess different smells that you might not get at home and those sorts of things. I guess they're all the little percentages that add up.
It does add up. You know, it's very difficult to travel around and to play games. I mean, if you're playing every 3 days, you've got to know you've got to recover at the right time and play the games at the right momentum and that there. So, you know, all that experience helps, but it's only a little part of the package. And we need to prepare well against every team and to focus on every game individually to try and get out on top.
And how difficult is it to continue evolving your game? I mean, you know, maybe the style of football and the way you played at the World Club Championships last year, do you have to keep evolving? Do you have to continue to improve?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. I mean, every player, we've got new players in the squad that need to learn the system and the structures and that, and we need to keep evolving because we need to keep trying to get better. I mean, even at 31, I've got to try to keep evolving, you know. So that goes for me and for the whole team and the staff as well. We need to keep evolving to try and get better.
Yeah. We're going to welcome Mika Leilalafa up to say a few words. If Mika's in the room, if you can come up. Thank you, Ivan. Yeah, so Mika Leilalafa, he looked at me, he's like, really? Do I have to get in front of the television? Of course he does. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's a pin-up boy for Oceania Football. Very, very talented football, all accounts. How exciting is this for you to be playing in the Oceania Champions League here in New Zealand?
It's like I'm so excited and, yeah, look forward for that.
Now, you've played for other clubs in Oceania. What's it going to feel like potentially coming up against teams you've already played for?
I think it's good for me to play against my all teammates and, yeah, to see how I improve from, yeah.
Do you just call Ivan Visilic sir? Are you always polite to Ivan?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? See, that's the spirit of Oceania Football, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Mika, all the very best indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is very much brings to an end our Champions League for 2016. We hope you have enjoyed the live feed right around Oceania. Don't forget, we've got that preliminary tournament in the Cook Islands in late January, and then the tournament itself, 12 of the best teams in this wonderful region vying for this magnificent trophy. The winner will be crowned Oceania Champions League football champions, and of course they will take their place at next year's World Club Challenge. On behalf of Oceania Football, the teams in the room today, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage.